I truly believe we could have stores all over the world. I truly believe we can build something really special globally. I truly believe that, and I think as long as we got to stay true to development with our team and their careers and where they're going.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Major League. My name is Don May, and today I'm going to be interviewing the CEO and founder of LSKD, Jason Daniel. LSKD is a global sportswear brand that was founded here in Australia, and it challenges its community and its customers to be 1% better every day. Jason has built an incredibly dedicated community through his high quality product, his ethos, and his passion. Jason was kind enough to spend time with me in my home today for this episode.
Welcome to my home.
Thank you. It's beautiful. Thanks for having me, Don. It's very cool.
Well, it's a real pleasure to meet you, and congratulations on your success. And I know it's not an overnight success, and we're going to get to that. But
yeah,
I suppose I want to know what you were like as a kid.
I was a good kid, I hope. But no, I mean, this journey is it's crazy because when I look back on it, it feels like yesterday, but it's really only early days in the journey of LSKD. But I mean, it started out as a high school nickname in 2002. And when I look back as a kid, I didn't kind of realize when I was growing up as a kid how obsessed I was with sports and action sports. And to give some context to the story, I'm probably starting off talking about the story first, so I apologize. But, in 2002, when the brand started, it was a high school nickname. I was actually obsessed with riding bikes, and I was riding BMX, and I was actually riding with some pro BMXers. They were 18. I was, 12, 13 years old, and I was trying to jump this really big jump, and I couldn't jump it. I think it was big, maybe it wasn't, but they called me the loose kid. So I was probably a little bit crazy on a bike. So growing up as a kid, I was definitely obsessed with action sports and, getting at it in that way. And anyway, as a kid, I finished school in 2003, high school, grade 12. And so the brand actually started when I was still in high school. And in 2003, I did a couple of different jobs. I tried a few different jobs. So I was maybe trying a bunch of things. I tried to become an electrician, didn't like it. I worked in a bricklaying yard, and then I ended up becoming a carpenter and thought, okay, I need to become a carpenter. I need that to be my, I got to get a trade here. I still want to race motocross. I'm obsessed with racing and wanting to become a pro athlete. And to get that job, I had to work a day a week for free for like 3 months because the company wouldn't give me an apprenticeship. So I'm like, whatever it takes to get an apprenticeship. And then in 2007, 5 years later, I decided that I wanted this brand to be my career. And then I knuckled down from 2007, and the brand changed from Loose Kid Industries to LKI. And it took 3 years. And then I finished my apprenticeship at the same time of going full-time LKI in 2010. And I left my mum's house where we were shipping orders from her bedroom. So for 3 years, we were working from mum's house. And then we moved into our first office in Christensen Road in 2010. And yeah, for the next 8 years, we were LKI until we changed the brand to LSKD. So it was a crazy journey. But growing up as a kid, I've probably gone off track a little bit, but I think I was good, maybe a little bit cheeky, but I wasn't a person for school. I had a lot of fun at school, but I was all about sports. I think that's,
So when did you know you were an entrepreneur? When did that, what point did you go, you know what, I really want to build something, I want to create a brand,
Yeah.
I want to do what you do?
It's funny because I kind of look at it now and go, I didn't really know. I mean, there was really no such thing as entrepreneur back then, or I didn't know.
Yep.
There was no social media. When we first started, it was magazine ads, and we were predominantly a wholesale business. So I was driving to retail stores, selling off a one-page catalog, trying to get them to buy some T-shirts. So I didn't really know what I didn't know. So I didn't even know that I was doing what an entrepreneur would do. I suppose I was just, I suppose I was doing it in a way that I just wanted it to be my career. And it's weird because I look back and I go, why was I doing it? I did it for like 15 years, and the brand got to a point which I can share how, where we got to within LKI, but I was like, why am I doing this? Because in 2018, when we changed the company to when we changed from LKI to LSKD, it was this journey of struggles. I mean, the brand stopped growing for 5 years. So we got to about $3 million and it didn't grow. And in 2018, my son was born in March 2018, and we changed the company in September 2018. So it was a big risk. It was like, okay, we've got a newborn, change the company. But through that kind of journey of those struggles, and the company wasn't making money, and I was like, why am I doing this? And it was like why am I going to work every day? Which kind of led me to, you know, through that journey, I did go to Landmark Forum in 2015 and did this 3-day personal development course, and I joined a Toastmasters club to kind of learn how to public speak. And, you know, we had a small team of 12 then, which was, I suppose, still a big team, but a small team. And I was still nervous to even talk to the team of 12. So I was like, I got to learn how to do that. And I started reading books and I started learning and thinking, I don't know what I don't know. And all these, you know, I started listening to the team. I wouldn't say I did the best job with our culture. And so, and when we changed the company, it was like, how do we change it with a purpose, which is now our mission to inspire our community to be 1% better every day. And when I look back on that journey, I was like, why am I going to work? Like, I've been doing this for so long. And I was really lucky. I was a teenager and in my 20s, and I just turned 30. Which I didn't realize through reading all these books and inspiring through all these different founder stories. But yeah, I don't know where it came from. I think if, you know, just growing up, always working, we didn't have a lot, but we had a great upbringing, but we didn't have a lot. So we had to work if we wanted anything. And my grandparents were quite entrepreneurial. So and my mum was, so it kind of came through the family, I think. But yeah, I don't know.
Have you seen any role model attributes that you reflect on your grandparents or your mum? Or
yeah, my nono, he come over from Italy. He's 93, so he came over to Italy, I think, when he was 21 with nothing. So he went over to Tassie first on the boat, and you know, so you know, they had to work really hard, and they did a really good job, and were very successful, and I think that really did inspire me. You know, growing up, my mum owned a plant nursery, so I worked in that nursery from a very young age. You know, if you want something, you got to buy it. So my first motorbike I bought when I was, you know, I might have been 9 or 10 from the trading post back then for like $600. I had to work in the nursery to buy it. You know, I'd get $5 an hour. So I was like, if I wanted it, I had to buy it. So I think I learnt through that if I wanted anything, I had to work. But it was when we were building, you know, when I started LKI, I wasn't doing it for the money. It was more I wanted it to be a job, and I didn't want to be a carpenter. I just loved doing it. Yeah. And until I actually started asking, why am I doing this? You know, why are we going to work every day? Like, how do we create something bigger than ourselves? And it really became a lot clearer, I suppose, in 2018, 2019, and obviously the growth we've seen today.
And can you put your hands on the trigger in that 2018, or is it a bunch of steps that you can say, look, it's 5 things, 3 things, 1 thing? Yeah,
it's funny. I think it feels like it was like 100 steps put together. You know, I raced motocross up until 2010. When I finished racing motocross, I ended up joining a gym, and because I'd always trained in fitness, but I joined a gym in 2010, and I ended up trying a fitness model comp in 2011. I was training at a bodybuilding gym, and I was right into it, but I didn't realize I probably wasn't a part of something. You know, I love training there, and then I actually joined the first Fit Stop in 2017, and you know, Pete and myself grew up racing motocross together, and when he started Fit Stop and opened the first franchise, I actually joined that, and a good friend of mine opened it, and I really felt a part of something. I felt it was really cool, and I was like, okay, well, I've always been obsessed with fitness, and you know, and didn't realize I was missing being a part of a community at motocross. You know, when we would race motocross, there would be 500 athletes in all different divisions, but you were there with everyone. It was really fun, and you would travel 10 hours in a car to go racing, and you spent the weekend racing. I didn't realize I was probably missing that. So when I joined, you know, a functional fitness gym, I was like, wow, like I feel a part of something, and maybe we can build a brand around this community, because a lot of athletes, and I was lucky enough to sponsor so many athletes in the journey through action sports and motocross, and got to learn from them and how to build relationships, that they were all starting to join for fitness. So it was kind of these journeys of joining a gym, being a part of it. We did make fitness product, and to give some context, you know, when we transitioned from LKI to LSKD in the story, we were making lots of product. So when I say lots of product, you know, from kind of 2010 to 18, in that period of time, we sold to, you know, a lot of major retailers, independents. We didn't really have an online business, a small online business. We were mainly doing in magazines till about 2013. But we made a lot of products, from life jackets, motocross gloves, motocross socks, some streetwear, some sportswear. So we were selling to lots of categories. And through that journey, I started to realize that, okay, I'm doing too many things here. Yeah. Like, this is focus. Yeah, focus on one thing. Yep. And that's when joining the, you know, being part of a, you know, community fitness gym, and saying, well, there's something here with functional fitness. And we had a pair of leggings that we made that we were selling, and our community kept asking for them. And I thought, if we could develop a legging for this community and my first trip to China was in 2011, in my early 20s. And I didn't realize I'd built all these relationships and all these experiences, going offshore and learning manufacturing and how important that was, that, okay, we could actually develop our own fabric and we could develop our own fit and function of this product, which led us to developing the rep legging that we ended up launching in July 2019. And that was kind of the real start of the growth of the brand. But it was the steps of, okay.
What was the differentiation with rep legging? What made it different?
We really focused on this like buttery soft fabric. And we tried to really develop a fit that I suppose listening to the community. And, we want to have pockets in it. The waistband so it would hold you in. We added a larger logo to give that street aesthetic that we felt we had as a brand a little bit more edgier. We've always felt we have this little bit more of an edgier style about LSKD, and that's why we do a lot of unisex product. And so it's just, and we spent 18 months on this product and just listening to the community develop it. And at that time, because we were a wholesale business, I actually hadn't offered it to wholesale because I'd gone through this journey of them wanting to buy what sold the year before and thought, hang on, like it's actually what does the community want, not what the retailer would want. And they were a massive help, our stockists, and I'm very appreciated. I really do still appreciate it, but we don't do wholesale anymore. So, purely D2C, but yeah, it was developing it and getting feedback, and I'd be in the gym and listening to the community talk about it and test it and wear it. And then we'd go back and refit it and, down to the gusset and tweaking little things. And it slowly gained traction, and that was really the kick. And then we ended up becoming a purely online business until 2022 when we opened our first retail store. But yeah, it was really refining on, okay, we are doing too many things and I couldn't be doing everything for everyone. We had to focus in and said, okay, well, if we can create a functional fitness brand and our mission is to inspire our community to be 1% better and really focus on that product development and, create over time, over the past 7 years, we've been now able to work directly with raw material suppliers and creating our own fabrics. And so it's quite special now, the suppliers we're able to work with around the world that are building some of the biggest brands in the world, and the relationships we're building to help us with technical products. So yeah, it's a ton of things.
And you're now even pioneering fabrics. What you're talking to us
Yeah,
today.
yeah, we're working on lots. I mean, I'm wearing our new zero crease fabric, so you can pack it anywhere and it doesn't crease. So yeah, it's got a cool touch to it as well. So it's like a 220 GSM weight, so it's slightly heavier, but it has a cool touch to it. So when you put it on, especially if you're in a warmer climate, it still feels that slightly cooler as well. So yeah, we do, and we have a great team. They're doing such a great job with like the work they're doing with fabrics and products. So
when I'm listening to you there, focus was a big shift. The other one is listening to the customer, because a lot of people design what they think you want, or like you said, the retailers are telling you what's already in the past.
Yeah.
So they're like using new thinking of agility and agile thinking of recreation.
Yeah, and listening to our community, and it was really honing in on what we could be best in the world at, and focusing on that. And our product range is still is larger than just leggings, but really focusing on that. And then listening to our in our community, and really how do we inspire our community within the functional fitness community. And then at the same time, I suppose, from reading all these different books and learning so much on the journey, it was like, how do we inspire our team, and how do we develop around that? And, through that journey, from all these different books and learnings, that's how we created our values as a team, which, I suppose agility, like you said, one of our values is move fast, break shit. Dare to think differently, nothing's impossible. And, we try to live and breathe that value every day, and we might make mistakes, but, we're not perfect and we're constantly learning. And, 1% better every day, one of our values that turned into our mission, create a community. So every decision we try to, goes back to our values that, we created as a team. It didn't just come from me, which I think was really special, and we were able to create it. And so we, let's go to work for this every single day. But I mean, the thing about all those things with values is like, I did try to create values back in 2015, and I had no idea what I was doing, and I made that many mistakes. So it's been this huge journey of, learnings as well.
And who was your first employee?
Apart from my mum, it was actually my cousin.
Okay.
My cousin Blake.
Common story that seems to be family members of the first employees.
Yeah, my cousin Blake, he's a legend. He was there for a long time. He actually had cystic fibrosis, and that's why we support Cystic Fibrosis Queensland, and he's doing amazing. But, and he's running the local golf shop now. But yeah, it was him. He'd finished school and he'd come over and he'd weed stickers, because we used to have our own sticker machine. In 2009, we were going to do a first order with some product offshore, but the Australian dollar, I think, had gone to 50 cents back then, you might remember. And I was like, oh, we can't afford to buy anything. We have to do all local stuff. So we ended up buying a sticker machine. And we started cutting stickers and selling stickers and putting them on cars. And, we still have that sticker machine and table today, actually. We've been able to keep our original office, and we take our team on tours there. But yeah, it was Blake, and he was weeding stickers after school.
And how did you think? So you went through this period flat, then huge acceleration of growth. How did you deal with that? What were some of the structures you had to put in, people you had to bring into the company?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a crazy journey. I think, to go from essentially 3 to 150 million, the last 6-7 years has been wild. I'm very grateful. I mean, and it wouldn't be possible without the team. And I think staying true to our why. We've learned a lot. We've made a lot of mistakes, and I think, I don't think if I'd had that. I think if we'd had that type of growth in the early stages of the brand in 2010, 11, 12, in my early 20s, I don't think I would have been able to handle it. I'm almost really glad that it's happened this way. As much as it sucked, and at the time it was really stressful, and, there was weeks I wasn't paying myself and, waiting to be paid by retailers, and this is only 6 or 7 years ago. But I think we spent a lot of time developing our team. It's first who, then what, and, when we, I suppose even through our interview process, we give a book for them to read, and to come on the journey and the learning journey. I've been very passionate about finding, I suppose, mentors and coaches as well through the journey, especially in this industry, and not just for myself, but for the team, and how do they learn. A big part, I think, through that was in July 2018, I met my CFO, Matt, and he ended up joining reluctantly, we like to joke about, in August 2018. And then 2 weeks later, we changed the company. So he's thinking, oh my gosh, what have I joined? But he actually came on a day a week, and I got a government grant of $40,000, and I had to put in 20.
Queensland or national?
Oh, I think it was Queensland. I can't remember. Matt actually filled out the forms for me. But I got a government grant, and he'd actually started, and he started a day a week back then, and he was still part-time up until, he's going to hate me for this, I think 2020, for quite a few years actually. But he played a huge part in the journey, and he really taught me, he came on the book journey with me, and I think what he'd gone through and through different cultures and learning. So we both kind of went on this book journey together, and he was teaching me, I suppose, the science and how to read a P&L. And I wouldn't say I knew how to read a P&L that well, even up until 2018, and where to focus my energy. And I was really, grateful and lucky for that, because I was seeking to understand, and I was learning how to read a P&L and where to focus my energy, and how are we going to save some money, to be honest, at the start, because, we weren't profitable. And, I've actually never shared this, but our first 5-year goal was to hit 10 million. And, we 10 times that. And I don't think it was about the number. I think it was just the focus on the basics and the team. But I think, having I didn't even know what a CFO was even then, but having someone, like Matt with a financial background, or a CFO, really helped me learn a lot. And I think it's a really important part of any business, is the finance side of it. And, I'm very grateful for that, because, it plays a huge part in the team to this day, and the learnings that we all get from that. And, if I can learn the science, how can I apply the art with what I love with product and marketing? So yeah, I think that, but the team itself, but I think that was a pinnacle part.
Hiring a CFO, what are the next 2 best hires that you think were game changers to the business?
Oh, that's a good question.
Often young entrepreneurs are thinking about, who do I bring on this journey? Where are my skills at?
It's really hard to name 2. I mean, there's quite a few. I mean, there's one person in the journey, Dylan, who's now our creative director, but he started as a graphic designer in 2011. He actually designed the LSKD logo in 2015 and then left for 18 months. I was a bit of a dick. I made a lot of mistakes. And then I called him up 18 months later and said, do you want to come back? I've made a few mistakes. And he's like, I've grown up. And, he's played a huge part. He's really brought the design aesthetic of LSKD that I couldn't do. I'm not a designer. I don't even know how to use the systems, Photoshop or Illustrator, but I have a real passion for building something. But he's been able to unlock that. And he's been with the brand for a very long time, and left as well, and then came back. So, I think he's played such a big part. And there's so many, Do you know that there's so many through the journey? You know, how our content's being created from Matt, you know, Kirby, and what he's done to, I'm going to get trouble. There's so many team members, but that have done such a great job. You know, and as we've gone into retail, you know, Alex, our new chief retail officer, and what she's done to really help us within the retail side, and you know, going from essentially our HQ store when we built our HQ in the start of 2022 to you know, now having 23 stores and got 6 more to open.
Yeah.
Thank you. It wouldn't happen without the team, and you know, Alex played a big part in that, and the team development and how we recruit, and you know, really supporting our team there through retail, and the amount I'm going through learning retail as well. And, you know, really trying to ingrain myself, because I've gone from wholesale to e-commerce to retail. So been lucky enough to experience it. So
growth like 3 to 150 million in 6 years, that comes with new challenges. So what have been some of the biggest things now that keep you up at night, where you're just sitting there going, oh my gosh, how do I deal with this?
It's a great question. I think something that scares me is, you know, making sure, you know, I don't want to talk up the culture, or, you know, because we've always got things to improve, but that really scares me. You know, how do we stay true to our mission, our values, you know, as the business gets, you know, as a brand gets bigger, and what we're doing in our backyard in Australia, New Zealand, but how we're growing internationally, you know, that worries me. You know, how do we keep that same message and develop our team and investment in the team and personal development and staying true to our why every single day. And, you know, because as you do get bigger, it's easy to lose focus on how important those things are, and just the basic fundamentals of the brand, I think, is really important. Obviously there's the day-to-day of making sure we're developing, you know, world-class product from our community. I spend a lot of time in the product department, and you know, what the team is creating is really special, but you've always got to be on top of your game, thinking of product for the community. And, you know, that's a big one, because product is key for the community. But yeah, there's lots of things, but I think, you know, making sure we stay true to who we are as a brand as we get bigger and bigger, I think is really important in our mission.
I ran into somebody as I knew you were coming to sit in on this today, and they said that they knew someone from one of the biggest global sportswear businesses, and they said, well, who do you admire? And they said, LSKD.
Really?
Yeah. And then they
wow.
said, and
That's
this individual said, because of what they do in their community, it's different. What do you think? What do you think he meant? What are you doing differently in the community?
Oh, I mean, it's a very cool compliment. I mean, when we create our value, create a community, I think, you know, and growing up racing motocross, you know, when we first started sponsoring athletes in the early days of racing motocross, and, you know, I'd be walking past a pro athlete going, oh, that's Matt Moss. And next minute I'm giving him a t-shirt, and next minute he's wearing the brand, he's got a sticker on his helmet. And it had all started through grassroots, authentic relationships of how we signed athletes. And I didn't realize I was learning all these skills then, you know. And I think to this day of how we, you know, as a brand and how we market in community, I think we just really believed, you know, just be authentic. And how do we inspire our community to be 1% better? I think, you know, and when we show up in community, how do we just stay true to our mission? And, you know, it's not about selling product. Like, that'll take care of itself if we do the right thing for our community. And, you know, even down to giving our community a book, you know, like, how do we do, you know, we share quite a few of our books on our website as well. And, you know, to the community, like, how can we make a difference in their life? And, you know, if we can inspire them to be 1% better, you know, my wife said it the other day, she ran her first half marathon, and a couple of people have messaged us saying, you've inspired me to get out and run. And I said, that's so cool, because you don't need to be an elite athlete. You know, you don't know who you're inspiring every day. And I think if we're the brand that can play that part, and how we show up in community authentically and just be ourselves, right? Like, you know, enjoy the journey is one of our values. Have fun, be yourself. So we do lots of events. You know, we do lots of grassroots events. We have at our head office that we were lucky enough to build. We have a gym on the second level. We host lots of community events. Lots of gyms use our space. We have a retail store there. And when you're there, you know, like, I was literally just in a meeting there, and I can see the community shopping. So it's a really cool experience at the head office. It's just, you know, you want them to feel a part of it, and, you know, we're learning from them as well. And yeah, I don't know. There's lots of things. There's a million things put together.
Sure. And how do you feel, how important is it that you're almost walking and talking by being so fit and healthy? How important is that, do you think, as the founder and the brand? And
yeah, I mean, I think it's important. I mean, I've just always been obsessed, you know, growing up as a motocross athlete. And I've always been, my mum was an aerobics instructor as well. So I grew up doing aerobics. I did nippers, played soccer, I just did so many sports. And I'm learning it now with my kids because they're super active. I'm like, oh wow, okay, I'm going to keep up with them. But I don't know. I've always just been obsessed with fitness, and I think, you know, we set goals at LSKD. We do our 1, 5, and 10-year goals together, and, you know, write our 10-year vision of where we all want to be in 10 years. And, you know, 9 times out of 10, I'm writing my fitness goals first. Like, I'm like, okay, what are my 1-year fitness goals? And, you know, one was to compete in turf games in February, do my first high rocks. You know, one was to try and go sub 55 minute in Sydney high rocks, and we did a 58:15. So we came nowhere near it, but it was a goal, right? It's like, you're not going to,
impressive.
Let's give it a crack, you know, with my partner Kirby and I. And, you know, I got a turf games coming up with the team, and you know, now we want to do another Melbourne. Like, it's just, I don't know. And I think it just, I live and breathe it every day. Like, I love it. I'm kind of plan my day around fitness in the morning, and then, you know, and I'm so lucky that I get, you know, be a part of a fitness brand, and I love fitness as well. So I do think it's important, but I live and breathe it.
And where to from here? So you said, you touched on earlier, international. What does that mean? Is it online? What's happening internationally?
Yeah, so we have a team in the US now. We have an office in San Diego. We have a team of 10 out of there, and we have a small team of 2 out of Austin, Texas. And yeah, we're really building.
Why those 2 locations? I mean, I know Austin's just like the fastest growth city in America, but one of the fastest.
It's a great question. I mean, I knew one of a founder of. I got to know the founder of Blenders Eyewear and Pure Vita in San Diego, and they said, come down. I said, okay. So in 2022, we drove down there, and when COVID ended and we could actually travel, I think a team of 8 of us flew over there, and we spent maybe 10 days just sweating in community. And we knew some brand founders, and we got to know them, and we ended up doing a collab with Blenders, and okay, this is our spot. You know, let's really build it down to the postcode in Pacific Beach and really build.
So you've got a retail store there?
So we have a store like in our head office. So we have a store in the front, community room in the back of our head office, and then the team work in the middle of the office. So it's a really cool spot in Pacific Beach. And yeah, thank you. I'm actually going to.
Is it a profitable venture already, the international business?
It is. Yeah, it is now. It wasn't. And we set the goal. It has to be break-even profitable. I mean, in the US. I mean, it's a big country, and it takes time. And you know, we've actually been sending some of our Australian team over there to live. Keith, our COO, moved over there. You know, having 3 kids is a little bit harder, and you know, there's so much to do back here. So I was very grateful. So I only go back over a couple of times a year, but we have a great team. And
catch up with Peter.
Yeah, well, I'll be over there next week for a few days, but that was the reason. And really, and I mean, it's a big country, and how do we just build the brand? You know, one step at a time. And Austin, Texas, we felt we were being pulled into the community through our e-com sales, and
that's impressive.
So we just so we ship online. We have a small head office store there that's doing quite well, and we're about to set a 3PL up. So that's happening this year.
What's a head office store? What does that mean? Like, there's a store with an office attached?
Yeah, so you walk into the front, and there's a retail store, and then behind the store is the team working. So you have community coming in and shopping. You can get feedback straight away and learn.
Love it.
And we have that at our current head office now.
Yeah.
So we have a store at our head office in Logan at the front. So if you walk into the front door where we all enter as a team, you walk straight into the store. So you're within product straight away. And then our boardroom that we call our rave cave. We call it Ollie's Rave Cave. We sadly lost a teammate to leukemia a couple of years ago. So we call it Ollie, name it after him, Ollie's Rave Cave. And you can be sitting in the rave cave in a big meeting and community shopping. So it's super cool. So yeah, we just thought we want to be different. Like, they don't, you know, you don't have to do.
And just now focus on the US. I mean, it's a massive market.
there's a big focus on our backyard. So I mean, as we're building, you know, the US, we're really starting to see the UK and Singapore community grow. But in Australia, New Zealand is, you know, it's our backyard. We're opening 6 more stores this year within Australia and New Zealand.
Wow.
Quite a few more next year in Australia and New Zealand. Internationally, not yet. But in Australia and New Zealand, yeah, very focused on retail, and you know, that integration of retail and e-commerce and community.
One of the things that everybody's talking about for business, that, you know, the view is it's going to impact every industry, every company, is AI.
Mm-hmm.
How do you embrace AI, or do you? And
I think I was waiting for this. I heard this question. I was like, what am I going to say? I was like, I mean.
Well, you don't have to. It's just, what do you think?
I think I think it's going to be huge, but it's how you use it. I think it's going to be the interesting one. I mean, using ChatGPT and it becomes your friend. It's super cool. It's you can use it to write workouts and everything. In ChatGPT, but I wouldn't say we're using it the level that it can be used at yet. I mean, I'm on the journey learning it. I mean, there's even so many tools out there for data and learning about other businesses with data that are coming out now with AI, which is kind of scary but cool. So you can learn a lot about what's going on out in the market. I think it's quite cool. It'll be an interesting one. I mean, we don't use it for like imagery. We still shoot, shoot athletes for the store. And I personally think that's really important. I think it's going to be big, but it's really how you use it, I think. It's going to be the key one.
And what about, like when you and I grew up, there was a lot less sport brands and they were massive, global. And now it feels like they still exist, but now there's just an absolute fragmentation. There's brands coming out all the time.
Yeah.
How do you stay relevant in amongst that? Do you think about that, the competition, or do you just focus on yourselves?
I mean, we definitely do. I mean, but I think, growing up, with LKI, I think one of the things I did a lot was always looked at what everybody else was doing. I was always obsessed with too much with what everybody else was doing and thinking we had to chase everything. And I actually put this quote on the wall in 2000 and I think it started 2019. I think the team thought I was a bit crazy, but it was like, we don't have competition. We set the standard. And it was like, whenever you start getting caught up, it's like, go back to how we're going to stay true to our mission of 1% better and inspiring our community. And what are we doing for the functional fitness community, and how are we creating product for, for that community that they can wear and inspire them. So there's loads of competition and there's some amazing brands out there and what they're doing. And I think for us, it's how do we just stay true to trying to inspire through 1% better and what we're doing in product for the community and the fabrics. I think, not trying to get distracted too much, but you've got to be aware of what's going on and obsessed with the market. But also I think, you don't need to chase everything. I think stay in your lane of, what you want to be best at as a brand.
And all this disruption with tariffs, that's another big thing. Like people are sitting back going, oh my God, what's going to happen? Yeah. Is that a big impact on you yet? Or?
It was a slight impact because a US, our global business is really growing. It's super exciting. And so we're in the midst of putting a 3PL in right now very quickly. So it's happening. So we were slightly affected and which I think a lot of businesses were. But we're in the midst of putting a 3PL in now, which is exciting.
And what would you say to a young entrepreneur? What's some nuggets of gold other than what you've shared all the way through this interview? What's something you'd? Always seeking to understand and learn. I think in the early days, I thought I knew everything, and I definitely didn't. I think when with LKI, I thought, I know what I'm doing. We're doing well. We're in these retail stores, and I think if I was reading books and really learning back then, maybe we could have been a lot different. And I think it was myself that was holding the business back a lot with LKI. It wasn't, I don't think it was just the brand, it was me. So I think learning and reading, I mean, we have loads of books that we read as a team, and we pay for our team's audio account. And, because I'm like, if they can get that, and, we have such a young team, if they can be learning, what could they achieve in their goals and their career, wherever they want to go, whether it's LSKD or not, what could they achieve? So I think, one is, read books and learn and founder stories and just emerge in those things and, that place of wonder of, how they did it. Because I think there's so many of these stories that when you read about these brands that it was very scrappy in the early days. It wasn't perfect. You read these brands like, I suppose the stories of like Nike, they're very inspiring. So, when you read Shoe Dog, it's such a cool story, and I'm very inspired by those stories. And, getting to meet Chip Wilson, the founder of Lululemon, and, getting to spend time with him and learn from him, and just the stories of that book. And it's just really cool. And it depends your industry you're in, but there's so many books out there. There's just so much you can learn. So I think it's a big part. Do you have anybody now that you admire so much that, of course, you're talking about Shoe Dog and you're talking about Lululemon, but is there any people you think, oh my God, they're just getting it right, and you just want to keep learning from them?
I mean, I'm a big fan of Chip Wilson. I love his book. I'm a big fan.
I've never read that. What's it called?
It's called The Founder of Lululemon by Chip Wilson, I think it's called now. Okay. It changed a couple of times, but it was Little Black Stretchy Pants, but I think he's changed it recently. But I don't know if he had to, but yeah, it's a really cool story, and I was lucky enough to meet him and spend some time with him and learn. And I think just the cool thing about their willingness to want to learn all the time was really cool.
Yep.
And his thought process behind brands is really cool. I mean, there's so many. I mean, I'd love to meet Phil Knight. It would be so cool.
Yeah.
You know, that would be epic. You know, what that story and, you know, of you know, Nike and how it started is just insane. So I'm you know, and I'm you know, as much as we probably compete in these spaces, I'm a big fan of a lot of these brands and what they've achieved and look up to a lot of them. You know, it's really special what they've created, because you know it's not easy. And the work that goes into it and you know, in your space and being, you know, how you build something in your community, it's tough.
Yeah, it's a good characteristic to have humble respect, right? That's how you
Yeah,
learn.
yeah, exactly. I mean, you gotta respect them. They've done an amazing job, and you start to read deeper into them, and you realize like it could have been 40, 50 years ago when the journey actually started before, you know, and it took 10, 20 years before it became anything, and everyone thinks it overnight. And you're like, wow, that is just super cool. So,
Yeah. Jason, you've talked a lot about books and how important they are.
yeah.
Give us your 3 books. I know there's more than that you have to say to your team, but at least 3.
Yeah. Yeah, we have about 21 books that we read, so there's quite a few. I mean, Delivering Happiness is a really special one.
By
the founder of Zappos, Tony Hsieh. It's a great book. He sadly passed away in 2020 when I actually picked up the book and read it. When we made a big mistake during Black Friday and couldn't ship orders on time, and I was lucky enough to find that book. Good to Great. I mean, it's a great book, and all of Jim Collins' stuff. I'm a huge fan. You know, all of he does, Spinning the Flywheel, BE 2.0. I think it's Good to Great, but also it's leading on. I think the chapter 3 of BE 2.0 is phenomenal. I listened to that chapter this week. You know, I listen to it probably once a month, the BE 2.0 chapter 3 on leadership. I love that book. I mean, yeah, The Founder of Lululemon is a great book. I think another one is Unreasonable Hospitality.
Yep.
And that's not even in the top 9.
Yep.
There's so many.
Yeah.
You know, if you're, I suppose if you, I'm adding another one in, but if you know, E-Myth is a great book. For anyone starting any business, I think it's a great one. That's, you know, was a huge part, and it's a part of our library. It's a great book.
And tell us about other brands that inspire you, even if it's outside of fashion. Is there anything other than retail, or do you look at product and you just go, wow, there's inspiration that comes from?
I mean, one brand I've always loved and always looked up to was Red Bull. I think that it's really cool. The founder, I think, sadly passed away last year. There was an episode on a podcast about them, which was really cool, because I don't think he did too many podcasts, but just the way they marketed and their storytelling and, you know, their athletes and what they did. And yeah, I'm a big fan of what they did as a brand. I think it's really special. And, you know, yeah, I've always looked up to Red Bull.
And then a lot of young people working in the new entertainment platforms, starting out, some of them have to be content creators. Do you have any advice in that area? Like how you come about specializing in marketing when you're getting going today, if you think about it and reflect on what do you think is key drivers?
I mean, I think when you're marketing, it's staying true to like, where's your community and what are you trying to market in terms of like, what's your why? I think when we think about marketing, we're always going back to, you know, how do we inspire our community to be 1% better? And I think we always go back to that when we're making any decision. I think is, you know, we're so lucky to have that, you know, trying to create a higher purpose, that it always goes back to that.
Can you give an example? Like, how do you translate that into?
I mean, we just did a billboard and we just put 1% better every day on it, but it was quite, which was quite cool. But I mean, I suppose like when we're creating content and shooting, we always want to shoot in groups because it's about community. We always really try to shoot in groups and community, and we always want to try and find ways that can inspire. I mean, I think is probably something that we're doing when we're doing events. You know, when we're showing up in community, how do we inspire at an event? You might have one conversation, and it could be a really authentic conversation that could really change the perspective of a community member and help them on their journey. I think it's layers through our CX team and what we do with community experience. You know, when we're on socials and different posts that we're doing, you know, what words are we saying on socials that could inspire? Especially we show up a lot. We're always at lots of events. You know, whether it's when there's the running, because, you know, train and run, and recently, you know, the marathon season, you know, how are we inspiring through content and sharing stories and, with our 1% better series and what we do. It's, just how do you do those things? And then how do we tie it back to product and, whether we're, with the product that we're launching, and share the fabrics and fit and function and what we're doing through that, but also that other side to it as well.
Yep.
But we're also on the journey and learning as well.
Yeah. Never stop learning. And so 10 years from now, what can you share? What will LSKD look like, or even for you personally? What do you think you hope you've achieved in 10 more years?
Oh,
You've been on a hyper acceleration in 6. Is there any catch-up periods, or is it just
we have a big BHAG. I mean, the big, hairy, audacious goal. I mean, I truly believe we could have stores all over the world. I truly believe we can build something really special globally. I truly believe that, and I think as long as we got to stay true to development with our team and their careers and where they're going, and our mission, our values, and product development. But I believe we can have stores all over the world. The number I don't know yet. Sky's the limit. I mean, it's we'll be close to 30 by the end of the year, and maybe 50 in another kind of 2 years within Australia, New Zealand, and the goal would be to open stores globally as well. And I truly think it's possible, but we also have to make sure we're learning a lot and entering the global markets, authentically, and listening to our community and how we enter slowly to learn and listen. But I think we can have stores all over the world.
Wow.
Don't know how long it'll take though.
Yeah,
I think we can.
Look, incredibly inspiring story for all of us. Congratulations on what you've built so far. Seems like you're just really, as you said, just getting started on the momentum that you've built. So it's a real pleasure to have you here, and thank you for sharing.
That's all right. Thank you. Appreciate it. It's awesome.